Jayo Radha Mandava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jai Gopijana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhare Jaya Girivaradhare Gopijana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhare Jaya Girivaradhare Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhare Jaya Girivaradhare Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhare Jaya Girivaradhare Yasodanandanan Jaya Brajanaranjana Jaya Brajanaranjana Yasodanandana Jaya Brajanaranjana Jaya Brajanaranjana Jaya Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Mandava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Mandava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Mandava Jaya Kunja Bihari Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nivesesha Sunnavadi Praskatya Disatarine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nivesesha Sunnavadi Disatarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasade Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Chaitanya Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Shri Advaita Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Shri Shri Gauranitai. Jaya Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram. Jaya Radha, Shama Sundar Radha, Shama Sundar Jaya Radhe. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya, Jaya Gurudev, Gurudeva, Gurudev, Jaya Gurudev. Srila Prabhupada ki, Itai Go Premanande. Vanchakaparo vyacha kripa sindhu vacha patitana vaishnavyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna. It's a pleasure to be here to continue the Bhagavad Gita study. So today we're taking the chapter, slokas, text chapter 2, text 35. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. So this sloka 235. Vayaranda upas tvam masya mayanta mayan satva maharata yaksmacha tvam bahumatu Pau yasya langatvam. Okay. Vayadro Masante tvam harata Yasya Samarata Jesam Chatum Bahumato Yasam Susumamato Uttva Jasya Silagavam Usham Vayadranadu Parantam Lashyati tvam maharata Yesam Chatum Bahumato Bhuttarasya Sulagavam Vayadranadu Parantam Vayando Parantam Masyante tvam maharata Yesyanti tvam maharata Yesam chattam bahumato Yesyam chattam bahumato Bhutva jasya silaghavam Bhutta jasya silaghavam Bahato. We read for the word translation. Bahato, out of fear. Rata, from the battlefield. Upasnam, Uparantnam, chase. Mahashanti, they will consider. Tvam, you. Maharata, the great generals. Yasam, for whom. Cha, also. Tvam, you. Bahumata, in great estimation. Bhatva, having been. Ayasi, you will go. Lagatvam, decrease in value. Translation by His Divine Grace is Confoundacārya is Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. The great generals who have highly esteemed your name and fame would think that you have left the battlefield out of fear only, and thus they will consider you insignificant. Kindly repeat. The great generals, who have highly esteemed your name, and fame, will think that you have left the battlefield out of fear only, and thus they will consider you insignificant. Srila Prabhupada's purport. The Lord continued to give his verdict to Arjuna. Do not think that these great generals like Duryodhana, Karna, and others contemporary will think that you have left the battlefield out of compassion for your brothers and grandfather. They would think that you have left out of fear for your life. And thus, their high estimation of your personality will go to hell. Hare Krishna. Om Agyan Timiran Dasyan Janan Janan Shlakaya Shakshu Omenitan Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Bistam Swapitan Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayan Dadantikam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinam Badu Jagapati Gopi Gopi Kanta Ratakanta Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. Once again, I thank you for your being here today for this discussion of Bhagavad Gita, Chapter 2, Text 35. So before we begin to proceed on Srila Prabhupada's explanation of this particular text, I quickly want to read a little commentary from Baladev Vidyabhushan, where he mentions something so, also as we see Srila Prabhupada mentioned in his purport. He said, "But how can I gain infamy from neglecting to fight out of compassion and avoiding the sin of destruction of the family? Maharathas like Duryodhana will think that you have left the battlefield from fear of Karna and others, not out of compassion for friends. Warriors do not give up battle out of compassion, and do so only out of fear of the enemy. Previously, those who respected you as a warrior and were the enemy, having many good qualities, Bahumati, we now, at the time of battle, think that you have given up the battle because you are a coward. You will reply, you will reap intolerable conscience from them." Hare Krishna. So oftentimes we hear about motivation. Yes? Motivation now is a very common factor in different social media, especially those who have good English control. Then we come up with different speech just to increase people's way of thinking, way of possessing or pursuing different ambitions and whatever it may be. Here we see Krishna is the first exemplary personality who teach how to motivate ourselves. He's giving to Arjuna. Srila Prabhupada used Vedit. Vedit is given by juries, magistrate or high court magistrate. They give it as, this is what is due for this person. Here we see Krishna is giving Vedit. He's motivating Arjuna. You should not leave. Because if you leave, what do you think that this personality will think about you? Of course, the subject of what we'll be looking at today is on fear, which is the cardinal subject of discussion in fear. There is actually nothing wrong with fear. Because even in the womb, the baby in the womb is fearful to come out. Bhagavatam tells us this. that the child in the womb understands the situation surrounding this material world. Because in the stomach, he understands what has brought him inside the stomach. And he's very fearful to come out. Still, as soon as he comes out, the same thing which he or she will be fearful of will grab him. Like we said, there is nothing wrong with fear. But one thing that is contrary, or that we will say that make people to see that fear is like something that should not be part of our life, is the content of what we are being fearful of. Because fear is part of human nature. Even Shukadev Goswami, he was in the womb for a long time. Why was he there for a long time? He was fearful to come out from the womb. But Krishna had to assure him that if you come out, what you think about this place won't have control over you. Right? So in the previous class, I remember that we have established a particular context of a story that has to do with King Nahush. So I will try to exploit, the end of that story, because that story also has a connection with fear. So Nahush was cursed because he derailed from the path of Dharma. He derailed from the path of what is expected from the Raja Rishi. And it was caused by, a sage, Angasta Muni. But when Nahush was falling down to the earth, he begged the sage, please, 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 don't just leave me like that because I have done wrong. And the sage said, yeah, because you have pleaded, you will remember all that have led, to your circumstances. And you will be relieved of this curse when you meet with Yudhishthira Maharaj. These were the benediction that was given to him. The first, that you will be relieved of this curse when you meet with Yudhishthira Maharaj, when Yudhishthira Maharaj answers your questions. The second part of it is that all that has led to your circumstances of falling down to the earth will still be intact in your mind. Eventually, it happens as the sage have said. So when King Nahush fell down to the earth, he became a big python. Towards the last part of the Pandavas in the exile, they have entered this particular forest. It's within the Himalaya mountain. And Drupadi come across a beautiful rose flower, very aromatic, has a very good scent, fragrance. So he requested Bhimasen to trace out where that flower is actually coming from and bring some of the flower to her. And Bhimasen, thinking that this is only way I can please our dear beloved Drupadi, so he went to this up mountain. As he was going, a lot of things happens on the way. He destroys many things, kills many things, kills many wild animals, so on and so forth. Understand that Mahabharata says that Bhishma's strength is more than 10,000 elephants. Not just killing wild animals. Sometimes Bhishma will uproot big tree from the ground. Such was justice, mindset. when he was going on top of this Himalaya mountain. So when he went to a particular spot in this Himalaya mountain, King Nahush, who has taken the burden of a serpent, was just there. And King Nahush would get one benediction from Agastya that whoever you grab, no matter the strength of that personality, as far as that person is within your grasp, all his strength will dwindle, will diminish. Somehow Bhishma Sena has gone around to this Nahush area, and Nahush somehow gripped Bhishma Sena. Bhishma Sena with 10,000 strength could not relieve himself from the grip of King Nahush as a serpent. He tried all he could, but there was no relief, there was no breakthrough. Then at one point, he began to know that this is not ordinary serpent. Let us reflect, within the context of this story. A serpent grabbing a human being, is that really ordinary serpent? Not just grabbing a human being that has 10,000 strength of that of elephant, 100,000 as Mahabharata mentions. But still, he was not able to relieve himself. So at one point, Bhishma said, not ask the serpent, not ask the python, please, I want to know your personality, because I discovered that the way you have grabbed me is not something that is unusual. I know that you are more than this python. Please tell me your person. Then King Nahush, in the body of serpent, recant all that has led to his downfall. But then he said, well, I have one benediction also, that whoever enter my grip, that will be my breakfast. Even though I have recounted that I have a connection with you, but there is nothing I can do, because I have been hungry for a long time. You are going to bring my breakfast. But where the other Pandava brothers were camping, Yudhishthira began to have some signs. Different signs were manifesting to him. Some were manifesting within the atmosphere, the phenomenal things, and some were also manifesting in his body. And these different signs signifies that something tragedy, something terrible was taking place. Then he began to ask other brothers who were at the camp, where is Bhishma Sena? He eventually asked Drupadi, and Drupadi said he has gone to search for a particular flower that she requested for. So instantly, Yudhishthira understood that something was really happening. Then he began to trace through the path that Bhishma Sena has followed with his footsteps. And eventually he arrived where Bhishma Sena were being grabbed, really grabbed, coiled. The python have coiled all around him that there is nothing he could do. So as soon as Yudhishthira saw this python, so he understood that something was really, within the python. Then he asked the python, please, just tell me what you want. Tell me what you want. Tell me something that you really want. We can offer you what you want so that you can relieve this brother, which we count on our victory. This serpent said, really, I don't want anything. If you also don't leave, you can also be a victim of my breakfast. Somehow the conversation go here and there. At the latter point, the serpent said, if you answer my questions, and actually this was his benediction when he was cursed, that if you happen to meet Yudhishthira, and Yudhishthira answer your question, then you will be relieved from the body of the serpent. So, the serpent tell Yudhishthira, he said, I will relieve Bhishma's sin only on one condition. If you answer the question I've raised. In Mahabharata, the question the serpent raised is small. But there is a particular one which I pick out of the questions, including the one that Yudhishthira also asked at the latter part of the conversation. One of the first questions that the serpent asked concerns who is a Brahmana, who is a sadhu, or who is a Brahmana. And the serpent, when he asks this question, then Yudhishthira reverse that, I will try to give appropriate answer to this question. And Yudhishthira mentioned that a Brahmana is truthful, charitable, forgiving, and of good conduct. Above all, is very benevolent. This answer was a little of a battle, was appreciated by the serpent. And the conversation go on, but at the last of the conversation, Yudhishthira also asked a question, which also the whole conversation becomes a dialogue that at the end of the day, King Nahush, as a serpent, was actually satisfied, and he eventually, relieved Bhishma's sin. But the point here that draws our attention to this particular story, which I think that just we begin the other class, so it's nice to explore it further than this. How does this particular thought reflect to what we have in today's chapter or text, which has to do with fear? Fear is something that we cannot do away with. We cannot say, no, it does not exist. Fear exists. If fear does not exist, even Krishna in Damodara Lila, we heard that he was fearful when Mother Yashoda was chasing him. So what do we derive from that? But there is something we can do to avoid the tension and the stigmas of fear. And this is one of the priority or importance of this great institution. Otherwise, we, as an individual, there is always a tendency that fear will always come from different aspects of our life. Either as we think, either as we look, either as we speak. It will always linger around sustained fear. Some people say something, at the end of the day, they are very fearful what will come out of what they have said. Some people see something, at the end of the day, the mind processes it, and that thing becomes a kind of a mystery or a kind of a threat to their life. Some people hear something, and that thing they hear becomes a threat to them. Some people eat something, and through that eating, automatically there is a fear. What would this thing cause within me? Therefore, there is always fear. Fear lingers around us here and there. But the path of spirituality, the path of bhakti yoga, the path of science of the soul, help us to elevate our consciousness, help us to elevate our thought process, help us to elevate, the stigmas and the grip of fear. A practical example that we can quickly bring to mind is the example of Parikshit Maharaj. This gives us a practical experience of what it means to be a spiritual practitioner. Generally, I remember some years ago, there is a course we are doing in philosophy that has to do with meeting with people who are about to die. So this course, you meet with people who are about to die and get some little thoughts. What is their present consciousness since they are about to die? I remember that years ago, many of the people we meet in one of the teaching hospitals, it was all about fear. All about fear. But Parikshit Maharaj conquered fear by asking the sage, what should a man do who is about to die? This is the path of spiritual values. The path of spiritual values help us to overcome the fear that lingers within our hearts or minds. And he was instructed what befits a man who is about to die in 7 days. So I would draw our attention close that we can also have that experience. We can have the experience of living as spiritual practitioners without being fearful of whatever the eyes may bring to us, of whatever the ears may bring to us, or whatever the perception, the tongue, the hand will bring to us. Let's keep in mind that what have caused Arjuna fear is the perception of sight. Arjuna was not fearful before, right? But as soon he saw the people before him, the perception of sight, then automatically create a phenomenon of fear within him. Then Krishna has to become a verdict giver, one who gives, motivation. So motivation is not something that is just being, that is just coming out. Krishna himself has motivated Arjuna many years ago. So how do we go about these two that will always keep us in consonance with our practice of spirituality? That we practice spirituality out of fear. We practice bhakti yoga out of fear that what would my future be? Because I come across this, even recent, there is a recent study. When I mean research study, there is a recent research, work that was done by about 10 different universities. And they have taken about 1,000 different countries. And this study come up with the frightful conditions of the youth of today. And what is the frightful condition of the youth of today? Fear. Fear of what the future will be. Fear of what does the future has for me. And this is not something that is not realistic. I, as a teacher, I have come across so many of these instances where students are very fearful. But there will be some fear among students, which may be very intense, if they fail to do what is expected in the present. In other words, if we don't build the present, there is always a probability that at one point in our life, there will be fear. The same thing applies to those who practice bhakti yoga. If the present is not properly cultivated, if the foundation of bhakti is not properly cultivated, there is always a point, or there is always an injunction at one point in our life that the fear will come up. The idea of fear is like, this is a glass of water. If there is some mud in this water now, it may go down. But when the glass is a little bit tousled like this, all the mud will come up. So this is idea of fear. So if we practice bhakti yoga, and the foundation is not very strong, at one point in our life, the fear will come up. And this makes the devotee to think, what am I doing in this institution? What do I have to achieve in this institution? Is this institution really guaranteeing what I should be achieving in the future? Understand that this question is not what the institution will do for you. The question is, what can you offer to this institution? When we come to this institution, we have come here to serve, not what the institution will do for us. But when the fear pops out at one point in our life, when our foundation is not very strong, this philosophical question will come up. Therefore, there is a need for us to make the present foundation of our spiritual life strong. And this can only be done by taking the instruction of Rupa Goswami to heart. In the first text of Rupa Goswami Upadismrita, the Nectar of Instruction, he has given 6 principles. Those 6 principles, they are very vital in the life of all practitioners, in the life of those who practice, bhakti yoga. And the first of it is speech. Speech. What we say. To the extent he gives example of a frog. If a devotee speaks like a frog, his bhakti will be checked. The example he gives of a frog is that when a frog croaks, the croaky is requesting for a snake. Please, croak, croak, come and take me, Srila Prabhupada says. So when a devotee speaks out of regulation, definitely there will be fear, because what is said, and if what is said has no value in the sense that has nothing to do with scriptures, it's only speaking out of speaking sake, then that word will bounce back, and that will create a fear. Therefore, there is a need. There is a need for us to be careful with what we say with our mouths, because these are the beginning. We used to have, in my days of undergraduate, there is a particular slogan we have. We say to each other, we say, the fear of Hotu is the beginning of wisdom. Never mind that. So, speech is an important factor that we have to be careful on how we use it. Even in Canto, I think in Canto 11 of Srimad Bhagavatam, we saw that Advanced Brahmana is saying. He said, an arrow that is being shot, it may penetrate through the front and come out from the back. With the help of mantra, that arrow can be brought out. Can be brought out with the help of mantra. He said, but the words that come out from the mouth is stronger than the arrows, that even there is no mantra that can brought out such words. The emphasis here is that words are dangerous than the wounding arrows. Therefore, there is a need for us to be conscious of what we utter. Then the second one, which Rupa Goswami mentions, is the mind. Yeah, most of us know these things. But the application is what eludes us oftentimes. We are very familiar with all these mazes of Rupa Goswami, but applications, the mind. The mind. The mind, from Patanjali Yoga Sutra, he said it's like bundle. Bundle means monkey. It's jumping from here and there. And we are very lucky that one of the emphases that we have in this institution is the therapy that works often on the mind, the Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. There is no other therapy. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. Confirm. So there is no other therapy that can actually arrest the demands of the mind. Because if the mind is not arrest in the sense that if the mind is not controlled, there is no way we can have holistic concentration. Our concentration will never be in the present. And we need concentration to do bhakti. Especially we need concentration to even hear what we speak. Well, little emphasis will be given to that because of time. Then we have the third one, anger. Anger. These are all the things that create fear, mostly. Anger, according to those who are very eloquent in speaking, they say when you hold anger in your hand, on your heart, in your mind, you want to throw it at somebody, you first of all get hot, burnt, before it goes to the person you want to throw to. In Africa, they have a saying, what it means, I will translate. It said, because I'm angry at you, then I blind my eyes because I don't want to see you. I'm angry at you. But when my friend comes by, the one I call my best friend, when he comes by, I won't see the eyes to see my best friend. If I because of my enemy, blind my eyes, when my friend comes by, there will not be eyes to see him. It's a very philosophical thought, showing us that the dangers of anger. The fourth one here is the tongue. The tongue. He said the tongue has no bone, but it can cause a man his death. But by virtue of the Acharya, they have given us a bona fide process on how we can regulate the tongue. And one of the parameters to regulate the tongue is Mahaprasadam Govinde. Very helpful. The what? the belly and genitals. Africa knows these things. Even in the Ayurveda, they know these things. I was just teaching the Ayurvedic student today. I mentioned these things. African talks about these things. That if the stomach does not get this, if wrong diet do not enter the stomach, the body will be healthy. Therefore, what it means is that every illness that the human being suffer from, they all begin from the stomach. Therefore, we should be grateful that the Acharya has given us Mahaprasada. Because what they have outside here, it's not something that really will help you to become Krishna consciousness. Nobody wants you to become Krishna consciousness. Because people are interested in what to get money. I have spent money to make some food to sell. I'm not interested how productive it will be for you, but I'm interested with the money you want to give. So in the community of international society, devotees are still very conscious of what we eat, of what is being given to or served to the devotee. Then, last but not the least, the genitals, which is not a prohibitive, but it should be used for proper progeny. And if it's not used for proper progeny, what comes up next is all issues that has to do with fear. Okay, example of that we can cite. Example of anger and Vena. Anger gives birth to Vena, and Vena becomes a nuisance. He did all he could do, but there was nothing. Vena was not restricted, was unable to restrict Vena, and Vena became a terrorist. Therefore, our attention is to keep these 6 principles. Is to keep it to heart. And how to always, remember these principles. Because when you remember something, then you know how to avoid it. But if you don't remember it, then how can you avoid it? Just like when a doctor prescribes for a patient, the patient has obligation to accept or not to accept. But if the patient accepts, it will be of his welfare. The only thing that will help us, to be in tune of these things that Rupa Goswami has given us. At the end of the line of this particular text, Rupa Goswami said, one who can control this thing is eligible, not just being a manager or a leader, to make disciples all over the world. What does it mean? That person has surpassed the push of fear. So, one thing that we will draw all of our attention to today is let us be attentive in chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The more we are attentive in chanting this mantra day in, day out, the more the thoughts to read the Shastra, in particular the Bhagavad Gita, will resonate with us as we read from the introduction to Bhagavad Gita regarding to the summary and conclusion of our talk. This is from the introduction to Bhagavad Gita which we have here. Srila Prabhupada says, if one adopts the principle initiated in Bhagavad Gita, he can make his life perfect and make a permanent solution to all problems of life. This is the sum substance of the entire Bhagavad Gita. In conclusion, therefore, Bhagavad Gita is a transcendental literature which one should read very carefully. Which one should read very carefully? Gita Sasrana Idam Pushma Hahi Pahi Pashapuna. If one properly follow the instruction of Bhagavad Gita, one can be free from all the miseries and anxiety of life. One will be free from all fear in this life. And one's next life will be spiritual. Hare Krishna. So that's a few thoughts. We have 5 minutes for any corrections and comments, questions. Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
We're fearful of those that we envy. So, in short, what is the solution to that, please? You covered it in your talk, but in short.
Say that again.
We fear everybody that we envy. We fear the things that we envy.
I didn't get that.
Fear no ended.
Okay. Fear.
Everybody in the material world is envious.
Yeah.
And we are fearful of the things that we envy.
Yes.
So, in short, what is the solution to that?
Yeah, that is what we just analyze. Let's keep the principle of Rupa Goswami's, to heart. The 6 things he has mentioned. So when we try to guide against these things, automatically we will be out of the grip of fear. And what helps us is by constantly remembering Krishna's name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Yes, attentive is very important. Yes, please.
To summarize, Prabhupada said that it's a waste of time practicing non-envy if we're not controlling the senses. Which is more or less
Yeah, more like, thank you. The same thing we are learning, because what is these things Rupa Goswami is teaching us? Uncontrolled senses. If these things are not controlled, then there is problem. And then we give room, for fear to grip all our endeavor, all our attempts in life. Thank you. Contribution. So, any other question or comments? We still have 5 minutes there, or less than 5 minutes. Comment, question? You don't need to be shy. I may have a small body, I may have this body, I have so much wisdom. That is the point. I'm not afraid to say that. In my life, I grew up from a family of academia. I've been studying. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you.